In the news tonight, a sigh of relief. People traveling to Kalangala have a new option in MV Nodil, Victoria.
The agony of the displaced fish, the flames of the Australian.
Schools rewarded for innovative ideas to help mitigate climate change.
Won't know how long the thing is going to sleep.
And researchers reveal that they have made progress in the search for an HIV/AIDS cure. And in sports, remaining teams in the tournament are gearing up for the quarterfinals of the Women's Cup of Nations. Good evening. Thank you for joining PM Edition. I'm Kalachi Brian with Isaac Luchams on Sign Language. Ida Dua continued today, and we have some good stories for you. One of them being a story about progress in finding a cure for HIV/AIDS. We shall be seeing that later on, but for now, residents of Kalangala have a reason to smile after introduction of a new code named MV Nodi Victoria to support their water transport system. The new ferry that is now officially open to the public started conducting test runs late last year. MV Nodi will help reduce the transport burden from Entebbe to Kalangala.
Residents of Kalangala district have for long been facing challenges of water transport, especially those coming from Entebbe at Nachuog docking site. Most people plying this route have always had one reliable option, which is MV Kalangala, a very slow ferry which takes over 3 hours to reach its destination. In order to ease the transport, MV Nodil Victoria has today started operations as an alternative vessel to complement MV Kalangala. For the first time, government officials from the Ministry of Health, led by the State Minister for Health, Margaret Muhanga, used the vessel from Kalangala to Nachuogo.
Kubanga abantu baffe waliwo bwe batafuna buweereza ne bagenda mu ddwaliro mbwe eddagala teririiwo kikimbu baali tunze bano bagize batya ne tubagamba Katonda mu ggulu yaaba alaba byokola naye bw'oseevinga abantu ng'okitaddeko omutima gwo gwonna Katonda akuwa emikisa nyingi gy'okufuna nga mu bintu ebibi by'oba okoze mu ofiisi eyo.
Muhanga MV Nodil Victoria will ease mobility for many, especially government officials who wish to extend services to others.
Bajje balinye ekintu kino nabo bala eno tourism yaffe ya Uganda ffe tugenze kukola naye n'abatakola ete family zaabwe wano bambi abantu beeyagale olaba wabaddewo na families zibadde oba abatoona bazadde baabwe bona mbadde ndaba nga beeyagala ne bwoyimirira bweru olaba ebintu ebirungi olaba amazzi.
Muhanga says this ferry will also enhance people's movement since it's fast and reliable. The executive director of MV Nodil Victoria, Sadam Soke, says they are only waiting for the government partnership to support the community on transport.
Waliyo geographical and historical sites ezandyetaaze abachi abana Uganda ogenda okulaba abaliroko n'abali international mwenna mujje mukole obulambuzi.
Other government officials had this to say on the matter.
In Uganda, ngabakamala janse kulegera ekisuumu twatuuka bulungi awatali buzibu bwonna.
Ziri powerful okusobola oku capacity ey'emmeeri okusobola okubeba abantu abalibo according to the capacity. Yes.
MV Nodil has the capacity to carry over 200 passengers, especially those who wish to go to the highland during the festive season.
Muslims in Uganda have continued to slaughter animals as part of Eid al-Adha celebrations. In the suburbs of Matuga, Wakiso district, the Malaysian community in Uganda donated over 150 cows and goats to be slaughtered on Eid al-Adha as a way of giving back to the communities.
Here in Matuga, Wakiso district Muslims are going ahead to slaughter animals as part of the Eid al-Adha celebration. According to Islamic teachings, slaughtering of animals may go on for 3 days after the Eid prayers. There are over 150 cows and goats donated by the Malaysian community in Uganda that are to be slaughtered here. All the meat here is to be given to the less fortunate.
Today here we are going to 80 cows and 80 goats. However, they have donated for Central Uganda 150 cows and 150 goats.
According to Dr. Farouk the Malaysian unity in Uganda has been doing a lot of charity work in Uganda, although their work has not been noticed that much.
They have been in Uganda for the last 8 years. So we want to thank Amal Foundation, represented by Keda, for the noble work they are doing. We also want to thank the government of Malaysia for allowing us to continue collaborating.
The butchers can be seen wielding their knives, ready for the slaughter, while others can be seen skinning the animals. Dr. Miro says from Matuga, they are going to go to other parts of the country to slaughter more animals in the next 3 days.
From tomorrow we shall go to Buro SS, slaughter 70 goats. From there we will continue to Chazanga, where I grew up from, the home of Chembadja. There is an orphanage school. We shall offer 15 cows. From there we shall go to Masakeses, my former school. We'll offer 15 cows. From there we'll go to my daddy's place, the late Sheikh Ahmad Achigundu's place. We shall slaughter 50 cows.
Members of the community here have welcomed the guests. According to Dr. Miro, during this time, they give charity to not only Muslims, to other people of different religious denominations.
They are in charity. Every year they come here for Kurban. They have done some boreholes. They are also going to construct mosques. They have donated more than 15,000 copies of Quran, and we have bought them. They are already in the country. When they do charity, they don't segregate whether Muslim or non-Muslim. We give to it because Eid al-Adha is for everyone to enjoy, because to show them the love of Islam, the love left by our grandfather Ibrahim.
Eid Adua, or the Greater Eid, is celebrated each year to remember Prophet Ibrahim, who was willing to sacrifice his one and only son to God.
Residents of Kajansi, Wakiso district have today been urged to beef up security at the village levels due to the rise in crime. This message has been delivered today by the community liaison officer for Kajansi Police Station, Stephen Mukombe. Since the start of the year, Kajansi, a suburb of Wakiso district, has seen a spike in crimes such as aggravated robbery, murder and attempted murder. Such crimes have left many people worried and insecure. Just weeks ago, some residents lost their lives following a spate of robberies, and it is against the backdrop that the community liaison officer for Kajansi Police, Stephen Mukombe, has out to advise residents vigilant.
In security, we always remind people want to consider like 4 things. One is personal security. Security starts with you as an individual. Well, before you leave your home, think of your security. Think of where you are going. Think of what you are going to eat. If somebody is giving you something and is not a common friend of yours, why do you eat? I always tell these borders, why do you have to take a bottle of soda from somebody? Somebody who has never bought you soda, and then he reaches this and he calls you on a border. You go, you reach there, they give you sodas to take.
Mukombe, who was at the residence of Uganda's ambassador to Sudan, Uganda, in Kajansi, says police will continue liaising with local leaders to help beef up security in the area.
Neighborhood watch. Can we try to note the neighbors? We always say LOCs, profiling people, profile the neighbors. Let our people who are our neighbors in our areas. Because you find somebody has rented the house and is full of people at night, you see a lot of movement. People are just in the area. These are people who can cause insecurity in such area.
The ambassador of Uganda to Sudan, Yahaya Semuju, says Muslims who led the slaughtering of animals in the area urged Muslims to obey God's command as a way of giving charity and helping the less fortunate.
And also think about the needy people. There are thousands and thousands, if not millions, of people out there who are starving. They have nothing to eat. If you join them in their happiness during this Eid occasion by slaughtering and distributing meat to those who need it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you.
Eid Adua sessions are to continue for the next 3 days. Muslims who are able are expected to slaughter animals. Youth in Uganda have this time around taken up the torch get involved in climate change mitigation through innovation and resilience. Students from different schools in the metropolitan area recently gathered at Gaza High School to showcase their innovations and skills they think help in the fight against climate change.
Climate change continues to be one of the most pressing issues of our time. It has gone on to threaten the lives and livelihoods of billions of people. This has been through natural disasters, environmental degradation, and extreme weather patterns that disrupt harvests, deplete fisheries, livelihoods, and spur infectious diseases. In a bid to mitigate climate change, different stakeholders have continued to find ways they can get youth involved. One of the ways that has been deemed effective is through competitions. In line with the World Environment Day celebrated under the theme Only One Earth, that calls for collective, transformative action on a global scale to celebrate, protect, and restore our planet. Trust and Standard Chartered Bank, Uganda, recently organized the Climate Change Innovation Challenge for schools in the Kampala metropolitan area.
Do you hear the cries of the drowning Chinese, the agony of the displaced fish, the flames of the Australian?
Here, schools showcase different innovations that they have created to mitigate climate change and to conserve the environment.
In this school, we have been running projects like tree planting, sensitization of the environment with our peers, and we also have been recycling. And we also want to expand this project outside the school into our community.
The Tuzeo project is a long-term project, but the main aim of this project is to improve the hygiene, health, and sanitation of students.
According to Pauline Natong, the executive director of EcoTrust, students should emulate the likes of Greta Thunberg and our very own Vanessa Nakat in the fight against climate change.
We are looking for a school that can articulate those challenges. We are looking for a school that is innovatively up with solutions to that challenge. But we will also reward presentation. So that's it. It's a competition.
Natongo also adds that the initiative of students turn their focus on critical issues when it comes to conservation.
The students or the schools have kind of like a limited perspective. So whatever they have is a budding concept. So we will set them to turn that into proof of concept, an idea that is able to be implemented. But also the financing that is being given to them, they will use it to invest in assets that are required. People are looking for recycling machines.
Officials from the Ministry of Education and Sports and Standard Chartered Bank also added their voice on the matter, saying that it is crucial for everyone to play a role in conservation.
As a ministry, we are building capacity through awareness and management, capacity building of managers to ensure that, one, most of our schools now, you'll notice they've adopted the energy saving stoves, that we are now beginning to use less and less firewood.
We have put up a big global fund. It's about $300 billion, which is a climate transition imperative, which allows us to support not only the nation or the government, but much more importantly our clients to get into real good climate-related interventions in their businesses.
11 schools were shortlisted in the final presentations on the innovations they have made in the course. 5 out of 11 schools that were the best innovators were awarded with $1,000 to implement the project. Mengo Secondary School turned out to be the overall winner with the best presentation when it comes to mitigating climate change and conservation, followed by St. Mary's College Chisubi and Gayaza High School. This event will be held annually to get youth involved more in the conservation drive. Sohel Mugabe, CD, PM Edition.
Now, scientists in Makerere University are not giving up the fight against HIV/AIDS. They have some new strategies which we are going to find out after the break.
CTV is now on StarTimes. You can now catch all your favorite programs, our daily comprehensive news bulletins, and so much more on StarTimes channel number 248. Stay tuned for a world of endless possibilities. CTV. Don't blink.
3 words: convenience, passion, and pride. Introducing the KCCAFC app, made for you to interact with the best football club in Uganda, giving you the latest news, transfers, membership options, merchandise online shop, match ticket booking, and fan zone instant messenger. To download the beta app, go to Google Play Store on your Android and search for KCFC. Download the app, sign up, and voila, you're in. Yes, the app is only available for Android users. iOS users, we are coming soon. The KCCFC app, inspired by you, made for you.
Welcome back. You're watching PM Edition with me, Kalachi Brian, and Isaac Luchams on Sign Language. Now, scientists in Makerere University have started a study that aims at finding a permanent cure for HIV. The study, under the Makerere University Water Reach Project, is currently funded by the US-based National Institutes of Health. The study will see scientists collaborate with scientists based in the United States of America to discover whether a strategy named Block, Lock, and Excise can help defeat the virus.
Although there is still no cure for HIV/AIDS, there are effective treatments that have improved the lives of many patients. One of the main treatments for HIV is antiretroviral therapy, which involves taking a combination of medicines every day to stop the virus from procreating. However, these measures have not been able to cure HIV, but only help patients live longer, healthier lives. According to Dr. Betty Mwesigwa, the Deputy Executive Director of Makerere University Walter Reed Project, they are working hard to find a cure for the virus, revealing the block, lock, and excise strategy, which they say they are working on.
If we could do block and lock and it works, we'd still be happy. But we won't know how long the thing is going to sleep. So adding excise, when the time comes and we feel it is worth doing, adding exercise would help us know we have removed.
According to Dr. Mwesigwa, this is the first study to try HIV obstruction by programmed epigenetics in Africa. However, other approaches are being explored, such as genotherapy, immunotherapy, among others.
Therapy, you go in and look at the gene itself and then, distort the gene. But epigenetics means you work from outside and changing whatever substance you're giving will influence how the gene is perceived, but not dealing with the gene itself. So
she's now appealing to Ugandans to engage into human trials if the laboratory studies give promising results.
For us to benefit as a population, as a country, we must be involved. Yeah? We must be at the table.
Moses Nsubuga, an activist who has been on treatment for over 20 years, says the study is a ray of hope for people living with HIV.
Our concern is that will they be able to take us for another 50 years? Children are being born with HIV and put on medication at a very early age, 2 years, and the kid is put on medication at 90 years. Will that child be able to swallow those medications for 90 years? So the solution is cure.
He also says that the cure, if developed, will help them protect their body organs, revealing that the treatment gives one a near normal life with ability to live opportunistic infections.
The plan is to live for another 50 years. But remember, these daily medications that I take are chemicals. And you know very well everything that you swallow and take inside land on your liver. Will these chemicals, will my liver be able to handle these chemicals another 50 years?
Over 37 million people are living with HIV/AIDS worldwide, with 1.3 million people living in Uganda. Uganda also has a good track record in leading the fight against HIV/AIDS, having made significant strides in the 1990s and 2000s.
Reports coming in from police state that at least 14 people have been killed by a shooting in Soweto, Johannesburg. Under a mix of prayers and protests as Sudanese demonstrators celebrated Eid al-Adha on streets of Khartoum between barricades. According to police, a mass shooting at a van in Joburg, Soweto Township has killed 14 people and left 3 others in critical condition. Police say they are investigating reports that a group of men arrived in a minibus taxi and opened fire on some of the patrons at the bar late Saturday night. Police were morning removing the bodies of the deceased and investigating what had led to the mass shooting. The 3 critically injured and 1 other person wounded have been taken to Chris Han Barangwanathi Hospital. Police Commissioner General Elias Mawera said the number of cartridges found on the scene indicated it was a group of people at the patrons. The little known is that people were enjoying the evening when they heard sounds of gunshots and then tried to run. No details have been found of the motive and why the armed men were targeting these people. The shooting in the back comes 2 weeks after 21 people were found dead tavern in the city of London. The cause of those deaths has not yet been announced by authorities, but the teens were not shot nor crashed in a stampede, according to officials. Sudanese pro-democracy demonstrators celebrated Saturday the Muslim Feast of Sacrifice in the streets of Khartoum and its suburbs between barricades and graffiti to protest against the regime in place. The morning prayer of Eid al-Adha, which marks the end of pilgrimage to Mecca, began Saturday in the streets of the capital and its suburbs as demonstrators began their second week of protests and sit-ins. And the microphone usually used to chant protest slogans to deliver his sermon. The demonstrators intend to continue their protest movement and force the head of the army, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, to resign, not believing in his recent promises to put in place a civilian government. Pro-democracy groups in Sudan announced on Thursday that they were forming a revolutionary council against Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, refusing his offer of a civilian government. This council will regroup the revolutionary forces under a unified leadership, explained Manao Siam, one of the coordinators of this coalition. On October 25th, Burhan led a coup that derailed the democratic transition, triggering near-weekly protests and prompting major international donors to freeze vital funding amid Sudanese economic crisis. Protests were repeated on June 30th. Tens of thousands of people gathered and 9 people were killed, according to medics. On the international scene, Joe Biden seeks to counter Russian aggression and Chinese influence through his visit to Asia next week. His focus is Saudi Arabia. And in circumstances unclear, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has sacked Ukraine's ambassadors to 5 countries, including Germany and India. Yes, President Joe Biden, who next week embark on a controversial visit to Saudi Arabia. On Saturday, the leader said that during the visit, he aims to strengthen a strategic partnership with Saudi Arabia. However, he assured that he plans to hold true to fundamental American values. During his 4-day-long trip from July 13th to July 16th to West Asia, Biden will also pay a visit to Israel and the West Bank, which, in his words, will start a new and more promising chapter of America's engagement in the Middle East. While in Saudi Arabia, Biden is likely to push for more Saudi oil output in the hope of curbing skyrocketing fuel costs and inflation at home. His visit also signals a significant shift in the United States' outlook towards the kingdom and apparent abandonment of efforts to isolate the kingdom's de facto leader, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, over the horrifying murder of dissident Jamal Khashoggi. As a presidential candidate, Biden in 2018 had claimed that the murder and dismemberment of Khashoggi has turned Saudi Arabia into a pariah. Last month, Biden had sought to distance himself from mentions of the Saudi crown prince and had emphasized to reporters that his trip includes meeting with King Salman and his entourage. But this week, the White House announced that he will visit Mohammed bin Salman as a member of that larger delegation while on the trip. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Saturday fired several envoys, including Kyiv's ambassador to India. Without revealing the reason for the move, Zelensky announced the sacking of Ukraine's ambassador to India, Germany, the Czech Republic, Norway, and Hungary. So far, it is not clear if the envoys would receive new positions. Amid the ongoing war against Russia, Zelensky has urged his diplomats to drum up international support and military aid for Ukraine. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of its neighboring country, Ukraine, terming it a special military operation on February 4th this year. The war led to a massive humanitarian crisis as the global leaders are urging to bank on diplomatic channels to solve the crisis, as they expressed concerns and shock to escalating violence, massive displacement, deaths and destruction. Kyiv's relations to Germany are heavily reliant on Russian energy supplies and also Europe's biggest economy. The ties are quite sensitive. Andriy Melnik, who was appointed by Zelensky's predecessor as ambassador to Germany in late 2014, is well known among politicians and diplomats in Berlin. The 46-year-old regularly engages in spoken social media exchanges and has branded politicians and intellectuals who oppose arming Ukraine to fight the Russian invasion as appeasers. He once accused German Chancellor Olaf Scholz of behaving like an offended liver sausage when Scholz did not immediately accept an invitation by Zelensky to visit Kyiv. Kyiv and Berlin are currently at odds over a German-made turbine undergoing maintenance in Canada. Germany wants Ottawa to return the turbine to Russian natural gas giant Gazprom to pump gas to Europe. Kyiv has urged Canada to keep the turbine, saying shipping it to Russia would be a violation of sanctions imposed on Moscow. Thank you for keeping it CTV. Around as we return with sports news. Welcome back to PM Edition. Here's what we have for you in the sports news. Africa's 4 qualifiers for next year's Women's World Cup will be decided at the Africa Women's Cup of Nations tournament, which concludes with the final on Saturday, 23rd July. We bring you the latest from the ongoing tournament in Morocco.